was a mutual understanding.
Yeah.
It so happens that there's a child. I'll implore her to have some patience. I know, sometimes in the midst of, finding it difficult to get a child, and you realize that your husband has a child somewhere, sometimes it can be a lonely space for the woman, because she's like, okay, it has now moved from, if let's say the child wasn't in the picture, this man would be at the same level as her in prayer, in being steadfast in God and keeping that faith in God. Now that he knows he has a child somewhere, that is going to dwindle a little bit. And that is from the perspective of the woman.
Yeah.
She's going to think, okay, I'm now lost, like I've been left to myself. I have to carry this cross. But sometimes in your waiting, when you take up things like but like, take the child as yours, care for the child. It is through those things that you do, attaching faith and prayers, that God will look at and grant you yours. But if you're going to be bitter about it and say that you're not gonna,
welcome the child.
In any case, this child, I'm sure the mom is not ready to let the child also go. So the honorable thing your husband is doing is to take care of this child, which is right.
Yeah.
Well, would you advise that he does it just because he's married to you? So what fault has that child done? That's what I'm saying. The man should first of all confirm
that
himself that the child is his. And if it's his, there's no question when it comes to taking responsibility for a child, because he didn't ask to come, right? So I will advise that the wife, is a bit patient, and the ex-girlfriend too. You'd have to be tactful, and you have to be considerate of the fact that this young man who you once dated is no more a single man. He's a married man.
Yeah.
So do unto others what you want others to do to you. It's not a time to be petty.
Yeah.
It's not a time to brush your child in the face of the quote-unquote barren wife.
Yeah.
Because it takes this little to get a bitter man, a bitter woman, very, vengeful or crazy, and she wants to do something crazy to you.
A scorned woman.
Women, we are crazy. So it's not a time for you to do that. So she has to be graceful with her approach, with getting the guy to take care of the child. And, hopefully everything would go fine, in my opinion.
Your opinion.
Yeah.
Could it be possible that she didn't want the guy to stop her from traveling? That's why she probably didn't tell him.
It still doesn't make sense, because you're not a slave.
Of course.
You're not a child. If you're pregnant and at the end of the day you still want to go, you can go. Right? But my own is, even after you kept the pregnancy for him, what stopped you from telling the guy?
Yeah.
It means you weren't sure that the pregnancy was for the boy. That is how it, because I will tell you. I will tell that, hey, I'm with child. Do you understand?
Yeah.
Yeah. If I tell you and you tell me, go and abort it, I'm not ready, and I decide to keep it, that's a different story. But when you keep the guy out completely, and then you just the guy is actually very graceful for me. Yeah.
We're live on Facebook, Hits 1039. Join the conversation. If you just joined us, this is what we're discussing. One of our listeners sent us a message. My girlfriend and I broke up 6 years ago because she had a big deal to work overseas, and I was not ready to do a long distance relationship. Not knowing she was pregnant with my child, and she hid it from me all these years. Now I am married, and unfortunately my wife and I are having difficulties with having children. My ex recently reached out to me after so many years that we have a child together. I took responsibility, and now my wife is acting bitter about it and feels I am now giving my ex and my child more attention than her. How do I handle this? We're live on Facebook. I'm here with Noella and Kumi Coombs. And Esther, what's up?
Yeah, interesting. I'm enjoying the story. And first of all, let me say this. Why should the wife think or feel that you are giving more attention? Which means something has changed.
Okay.
First of all, because the rhythm, the flow, there's been a different rhythm introduced. Something has changed. So you are not giving her your all.
Yeah.
First, you used to give her your all. And first, there was no introduction of a baby, let's assume that what the guy is saying is the truth. He was not in the known. Now, boom, a baby comes. If he's your baby, you cannot deny the child, the rights to having a father. So that one is there. First of all, you guys thought, okay, we don't have it. So 0-0. Then all of a sudden, it has become 1-0. Somebody has scored an offside goal. And nobody wants to lose. Because we all had a common vision, a common understanding. This is where we are. We can let it work together.
Yeah.
So in prayers and, taking medication and all these things, some people go to other places for assistance and all these things. I know we're doing it together. Now, a baby is introduced through no fault of yours. First of all, the moment that thing comes in, it changes the flow. Even though you are not, you cannot be blamed for what happened. Definitely, the one at the receiving end, it will take grace for that person to accept.
Yeah.
It changes the flow. So, okay, now he has one. I don't have it. And in a part of the world, once the man has a baby, the woman will be tagged
Yeah, as barren.
as barren.
That's the problem.
So it brings pressure on the woman.
Definitely.
That is the first thing. Then, even that alone can change her mood and her reaction and everything. It can kill her confidence. Especially if the man or the ex-girlfriend decides to use it against her. That one is the first leg of the whole thing. Now, the next thing is, once you have one, it may, the word is may, it may affect the seriousness you attached to having a baby, because you have one already. You are secured. It may. When it happens that way, it will affect your partner because you have one. She doesn't. And the pressure is on her. So if you slow down, it will affect her psychologically because she will begin to think that she's lost it. And the society, if you don't take care, you see, we live in a society. The society may, the people who do not like her, may use it against her.
Definitely.
And begin to mock her. So the whole situation, even though you cannot blame the man, I feel for the wife because she's at the receiving end.
Yes.
I feel for her. Now, Noella was talking about the ex-girlfriend not being petty. Look, there are some people, once they didn't have you,
Nobody else can.
nobody else should.
Yeah.
Not can, should. So they do everything to make sure whatever you are enjoying,
You spoil it.
you spoil it. It's either they forcing themselves on you or they provoking your partner to cause friction, wreck your camp. So everything depends on the man.
Definitely.
Everything depends on the man. First of all, you need to be sure, as Noella said, that the baby is yours, DNA. That is the first thing you need to do. Now that you know that, sit your wife down.
Carry her along.
And you see, now you don't have a wife. You had a girlfriend and there was a baby. Now you have a wife. Let your wife mother your child. That is if your ex-girlfriend will allow the child to be with you. But let her know that, yes, it is not, no, there's nothing like you and me. This is our child. Because if I decide that we're living together, which means your problem is my problem, your achievements are my achievements. So this is the problem we have at hand. We together have at hand. This is the lady, blah, blah, blah. Now this is what is coming. What do we do? That involvement would take away that fear. But the moment you decide to take decisions on your own and leaving her out, that is where jealousy and grief will set in. But this is the challenge that has rocked our boat together, for better, for worse. So what do we do? How do we go around it? Let her be part of the process. Let her be part of the decision making. Then it will allay that fear and also relax her so that she wouldn't feel that, okay, now
I'm the only one.
I'm the only one. Am I the cause? Am I the... it is up to you as the man to make sure all those fears are,
Put to rest.
Mm-hmm. Depending on what you do and the approach, how you go around it. Let her feel that we are a team. And there is a ball coming into our net.
Mm-hmm.
So who goes in first and who does what? Like a team. So that you plan together as to how you want to have it done. Then also, you need to reassure her that the promise you made to her, that I'm going with you for better, for worse. This might be part of the worst moments. Not for me, not for you, but for us, because we didn't plan that way. We are going together. Don't be afraid. Nothing will happen. We are believing in God for a miracle. And, so that is where you have to play the leadership role. You need to lead. You are the head. There is a problem. So you need to be strategic.
Yeah.
Very, very strategic. Assure her. Let her be safe so that insecurity will not set in. Because insecurity sets in, it will breed jealousy. And it will destroy that beautiful relationship.
I think insecurity has already set in.
Because the man didn't handle it well. That is why she said that I feel that he is giving
the child and the ex more attention than me.
Do you know why? Sometimes...
Who brought the story? Is
It's
it a
the guy.
man? Okay.
You see, sometimes we are human beings. If you long for something for a long while and it comes into your life, there is a way...
You drop your guard, you forget everybody.
Yeah, some excitement, some hormone, some adrenaline that moves in your body and it brings that joy. So if you don't take care, you might be tempted to forget. Not deliberately. You might be tempted, but you have to be calculative, because now it's not only about you. It's about you and somebody. And you are working as a team. That is why you have to let her know that if there is happiness in what has come, she's part of the happiness. If there is sorrow, she's part of it. So we solve it together. If you begin to give them that attention, which is normal, you should. But it shouldn't be you giving them that attention. It should be you and your wife, because you are working as a team. Oh, the child needs this. Oh, okay. I also know somebody here. Oh, okay. Let your wife be part of the process. And if you don't take care, if you know, no woman.
It will now and shock you.
Knowing that you've stayed together, you've had affection together, even before she came in the picture. You've seen your nakedness together. You've enjoyed intimacy together. And there is a baby out of it. And you want her to sit aloof.
And act like, nothing is going to happen. They are fine.
No.
He's with me. No.
She needs to be worried. When you guys are getting too closer, she'll be worried. Because now she looks like a stranger in the equation.
Yeah.
So it is up to you to make sure you set barricades for your ex, so that she wouldn't get that close enough to ruin your current relationship.
Yeah.
If you know you love your ex and your ex is still available, then divorce your wife and go for your ex. If that is what you want to do. But don't hurt someone's feelings. You are married to the person. Now you are looking back at your ex, and you don't want the person to grieve. You want the person to feel that everything is normal. No, that is imprisonment.
I think a lot of men do that and forget that.
I was just about to
A lot
pick
of
up
men.
from what he said. I feel like anytime there's a wedding and we go witness it and we are listening to them say the vows, oftentimes the men think the onus is on us, the women, to keep the vows when it says for richer, for poorer,
for better,
in
for worse.
whatever kind of situation. I feel like the man must understand that he signed up for this.
Yeah, you did.
Right? And like Kumi has said, this is the time to even stand in solidarity more with your wife and carry her along. Let your ex understand that, okay, last time you met me, I was a single man. Now I'm not even engaged, I'm married. And so, I mean, in some of the situations that your ex even talks to you about, you should talk to her and say that I will discuss this with my wife.
Not
and get back to
some.
you.
At this
Everything,
point,
yeah.
at this point where you could see clearly that there is a problem, she should play a pivotal role in
Yeah.
everything.
Exactly.
Don't tell her some and leave some. So that the next time, if it plays back,
Yeah.
you are not going to explain. It will affect the trust she has for you.
Yeah.
So now, she should be in the known
Yeah.
of everything that goes
You
on.
should be in the center of
Right.
everything
Right.
that you talk or discuss with your ex. It is the only way you can, uphold your wife's trust in you and love for you and ensure that she, because women, especially women who overthink and wait for the fruit of the womb. For every married woman, it's like you're the prize when you have kids.
Oh God.
When you don't have kids, you're just an empty vessel.
Yeah.
So it's a sensitive area.
Very.
Very.
So
very
the man
sensitive.
must be tactful. He must be wise. He must be a man in every sense of the word, and a leader, like Kumi said, and show his leadership in this. It's a tough, dicey situation, but it's not tough. It is not tough. All you need to do is to be transparent with your wife. Carry her along. When your ex says, "Oh, I'm junior school, whatever, is 8,000, blah blah." Before you send that 8,000, tell your ex, "I'll discuss with my wife and get back to you with a favorable quote." If she won't understand, she should be there, because at the end of the day, she decided to keep the information. And I'm saying this, do all of this after confirming that the child
Is yours.
is really yours. Do not back down or fold when she says, she tries to put up an attitude. How can you question the child?
In the
blah.
beginning, you didn't even know.
Exactly. So you're not at fault.
So if she decides
You're not at
to
fault.
be stubborn,
Yeah.
what have you done? You have nothing to lose.
Well, you have a son to lose.
No,
A son or a
when I
daughter.
say you have nothing to lose,
Yeah.
I'm using that,
Yeah.
because you didn't know, you were not expecting it. Now it has come. Yes, the child is your son. But if the lady decides to play stubborn,
Yeah. What can you do? Okay, I can understand.
maybe you cannot do anything, but whichever way, you were not expecting it. So
Yeah.
if it is not there, what if the lady says, okay,
on.
he is not your child?
As for me, dear,
Because you were not expecting it.
it's something
And
I
it
went
came.
through myself. I was brought up by my mom alone, and I only know the trauma I have gone through because I had an absent dad. So I do not support men not being responsible, no matter what it takes.
You are not the only person.
Yeah.
Yeah, me.
No matter
Yeah,
what. it
hard on the street.
Yeah.
Man.
But for a man, sometimes they can chest it. When
Yeah,
you're
men
brought
have a
up by
way
a
of-
single parent,
yeah.
for a man, for a boy, or for a guy, I'm not a guy, I can't speak for them, but I think from my perspective, I think it's a bit easier for them, because at the end of the day, society expects you to be tough.
Yeah.
Do you understand? But for women, it's crazy.
But psychologically, it affects you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it
Yes,
does.
because there are a lot of things that
It does.
I always, tell people that I had to work extra, to catch up with, just because I didn't
Yeah.
stay with my father.
Yeah.
So that male role model,
You didn't have that.
controlling,
Yeah.
and even how to bond with an elderly man
Yeah.
and all these things were things that I had to learn on the
Yeah.
street by myself. It was a gap, that was left because of that thing. So yeah, I don't know the age of the young man.
He didn't mention age,
But
nothing.
Reading from what he brought, you could know that he lacks a lot of experience.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It does.
yeah. Because for him to think that the wife feels,
The wife is bitter. First
You
of
know?
all, you should not even be thinking. You should understand why she's better.
Yeah, definitely. Because Charlie is
You know,
enough.
He
should
just
understand.
doesn't understand the situation he finds himself.
in. Yeah.
Yeah, he just doesn't. He would have understood the wife from her point of view
A little,
and know the role he needs to play, because now he is rather accusing the wife
Yeah,
of being bitter. But what brought the bitterness?
yeah. And
There was a problem. There should be solution.
Yeah.
How did you solve it? So the wife is just reacting to his actions and inactions.
And away
That's
from
all.
that, Kumi, I feel like one of the things that probably pastors and counselors should champion in counseling sessions with people who want to be couples is the fact that they should preach how married couples should see themselves as one. Oftentimes, it can be said in passing, I beg your pardon. But people stay in
individuals,
marriages.
yeah, be individuals.
Exactly, doing their own thing.
Like you're married, but you're still single.
But yeah, I'm still doing my thing.
Yeah, I got.
So you'd see a married woman making plans to build her own house.
Yeah,
The husband is also making plans to build her own house. It's like you have two enemies
who are together,
who
bond.
are putting a
front.
It is the only way. It is only when you accept that, okay, I am one with my wife, that you'd be able to be considerate of her perspective, her feelings, and her same as you. Also do the same to you. Be considerate of my husband's, feeling, perspectives. And so things like my wife is being bitter,
Wouldn't come
it wouldn't come up. If you see her as you and she sees you as him, as her or whatever, you know what I mean?
Yes.
So yeah, I think people should work more, especially married couples. Challenges come and all of that, but
And I think the term we're looking for is being empathetic towards each other.
exactly,
And be
and
emotionally
considerate and give them grace.
Yeah,
AJ,
consideration is a
Yeah.
very
You
important
see,
thing.
Yeah.
do unto others.
As you wish them to do to you.
Okay. So whenever there is a situation, when I had my issue, there was this man who I worked with, psychologist who would always ask you, okay, let's flip the coin. How would you behave
Yeah.
if this should happen? Can you imagine that the woman had a baby and didn't tell the husband? That one is a bit, tricky, because as a woman, definitely you know that you have a baby, so you should be able to.
Yeah.
But this time the man didn't know. But whichever way, there is a baby in the midst of the equation. When you guys are praying for childbirth, then it looks as if your wife now is giving the baby daddy attention. How would you feel?
Yeah.
Your wife is just reacting like the way you would have felt.
Yeah.
So you should understand it from that point. When you flip the coin, you would understand her.
Exactly.
That
But you see, that thing is difficult.
for the men.
I
For
think
everybody?
so. No, for men.
Yeah.
And it is something that must be addressed. A lot of times, when even in relationships, when something happens, and I use myself as an example, when something happens and I'm saying, let's flip the coin, if it were you,
How would you feel?
how would you feel? They feel like it is you fighting for equality,
It's not
which
equality.
is nonsense. It is just me trying to tell you that I need you to see
From my point of
from
view.
my point of view.
Yeah.
And in my point of view, don't worry, take me out. Put yourself in that situation.
How would you feel?
How would you feel? Once you feel like, okay, you'd be uncomfortable, you should know that, okay.
People who do that, you see, they either pretend, they are emotionally
Or selfish.
corrupt, they are emotionally corrupt,
Yeah.
or they are chauvinist. That superiority
Yeah.
complex
Yeah.
attitude.
Yeah.
How dare you? How dare you are not
I'm a
God.
man, I can
You are
do
not
this,
God.
I can say this.
No, you can't.
And when you try to stand your ground as a lady, you're like, about be say they into me worry.
What's that supposed to mean?
Me power chose worry me. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, I get you.
sometimes, it's
the complexes,
I don't know. Yeah.
chauvinism.
Yeah.
And it's unfortunate. So, young man, just flip the coin and begin to ask yourself questions.
Yeah.
when you begin to ask yourself questions as to how you would have felt, dealt with, and all these things if you were to be in your wife's position, or if your wife was not your wife but your sister in the same situation,
would you be happy?
how would you?
And it's something they wouldn't want to even listen.
So that you would not accuse her, because
Yeah.
I feel for the wife because in spite of what she's going through, the husband is adding accusations.
Do you
Yeah.
understand? Branding her as a better woman.
That mean I can imagine the kind of
mean-
arguments they've had
under
back and
this
forth.
Yeah.
circumstance, when you begin to talk your mind, they will
Yeah.
say, they will tag you as,
and I'll tell
as
you,
nagging.
and I'll tell you what, Kumi, at this point in time, I can bet my last 71 cedis in my cow bank account that this man is thinking of reuniting with the ex
I'm not surprised.
because of the child.
The same thing came into my
told you,
head.
I said something like that.
Yeah.
If that is what you want to do,
Yeah.
the earlier the better. Because already your wife is bitter.
Mm.
And where it is going to, the marriage looks like crashing.
Yeah.
So,
And it's all you.
yeah, it's all about you.
The thing is, I'm imagining the kind of arguments they've had back and forth, and the things
He would say
he has
to
said
the
to
lady
her
that
without
would,
thinking.
And you know, the men, they don't get this. That you see how men say, "Emma de kasa den omope," and ye kasa den kwao. Kasa na mu na obeka train. Say your papa say your bunny, we soak it in.
Yeah.
It's not. It was almost a mass chia semu dodo.
No.
Darby, it is. You see, you don't realize. Even you as a man, if I tell you something, and let's say I use something around you
To describe.
to describe you, your ego will be.
It'll be
Why want to
bruised.
make kasa for the
You-
rest of your life?
But they say it to women and
But
expect that.
exactly for us to contain it. Even and women, we are even more vulnerable. We are, you know,
see,
soft.
there are certain things I don't believe in. I don't equate gender to it. It's
Yeah.
an attitude.
It's an attitude.
I agree.
How do you expect me to respect you if you don't respect me?
I-
I'm not
exactly.
I'm not that type. No matter how old you are, no matter how big you are, if
Facts.
you don't
Well,
respect me, you
mommy,
can
yeah.
go and wait
Facts.
around the
Facts.
gutter. Yeah. I take care of myself.
Facts.
You know, I hustle to make sure I eat.
Facts.
I hustle to do whatever. So
Yeah.
I don't see you safe. You can keep whatever to yourself.
Sure.
Unless maybe we have something in common doing.
Yeah.
That one is different. But
If
apart from that,
that's-
Yeah.
apart from God, no matter who you are, if you don't respect me, hey,
Stay
if
far
you read
away.
the Bible says, "For ye are gods, and are all children." The word is all children of the
So
Most
no one
High.
is superior.
So who be you?
It's the who be you. But I'm hoping a lot of men can take a cue from this, because
Hopefully.
flip the coin and think about it. It doesn't matter. This conversation has brought up a lot. Whatever you and your wife or your girlfriend are going through, probably you said some things to her. With what my beautiful panelist said, flip the coin, sit back,
Yeah.
and ask yourself, "Yedegewa, would you be happy?" Then you will realize that
And remove me your bema, me your ba.
no, yeah,
Remove it from your
and then,
talk.
and
your-
then you realize that,
way you
oh, even to the ladies, you realize that she's not nagging, he's also not nagging. So we can at least learn to treat each other with respect.
Yeah.
Because with this situation, dear, I agree with you guys totally. It's a lot of things. So you realize that a beautiful relationship ends up falling apart, and you're thinking, oh, no more dom, oh, nah, but
So
it's-
the man should man up and be matured,
Yeah.
understand, the issue very well. He should do analysis of where he's standing now and the elements around him, so that he will know how to move strategically, or else it looks as if the marriage is, heading towards
crashing,
abyss.
unfortunately.
Noella, the only message I'm reading